I recently set sail on my first MSC cruise, and y'all, I got stuff to say. What's up, everybody? My name is Kiki. I'm from Team Reese Travels. I recently went on board the MSC Magnifica for a 3-day sailing along with my son RJ on a mother-son cruise, sailing to what was supposed to be Ocean Cay and ended up being Nassau, Bahamas. We had an incredible time, but listen, there's some things I want to dive into because if you were anything like me, maybe you haven't sailed MSC before. Like I said, this was my first sailing, and thankfully there were some people who helped me prepare for this cruise. But in case you need a little help, a little preparation for your cruise on the MSC Magnifica, let me share my thoughts with you. I'm going to be doing a full review of my sailing on the MSC Magnifica, and I'm going to start with Embarkation day. We were able to drop our bags off with the porter, no issues there. They were actually standing outside waiting as always. I did have to show our boarding documents a few times once we got into the terminal. Nothing outside of the ordinary there. We usually do have to show them 2 or 3 times, and I think it was about the same with this cruise. We got through very quickly. We got in, showed our documents, got upstairs, and were able to walk onto the ship all within, I think, 10 minutes or so. So very quick boarding process with no issues. And I was a little worried because I have seen some people say they had issues boarding, but we did not, thankfully. Once we got on board, we were able, they told us that we would be able to go to our rooms. They said that the rooms would not be ready, but that we could go there and drop our bags and then come back out and go grab lunch. Well, once we got to our room actually was not ready yet. Our room steward was there. He said he needed to just vacuum, and so he didn't want us to drop our things in there because he needed to vacuum the floor. He said that would be done within 15 minutes, and it was. Well, by the time we went, grabbed some lunch, and came back, that was done. So once we were able to drop our bags in the room, we did have a few things that happened throughout Embarkation day that we'll talk about a little later. But as far as the actual process of boarding the ship, that was very smooth. The room itself, the cabin, we had an interior cabin. We were on deck 12, room 12195. And it was a decent room. I mean, it was smaller than what we're used to because we don't typically book inside cabins, but it wasn't a bad room. I did think that the decor was a little dated. It is an older ship. I mean, we expect that. It's not a new ship. It's an older ship. I did think it was a little bit dated, but the room, as far as comfortability, we were fine. We had, like I said, an inside cabin. We actually had requested for the beds to be separated for us to have 2 twin size beds. When we got there and we talked to our room steward, he told me that he had not done that yet, but he would if we wanted him to. But he said he left the one bed on the floor as a full king, the 2 twins pushed together. And then he had planned to pull down the bed from the ceiling. There's almost like a loft type bed that you can pull down from the ceiling. He said he thought that might work better for us, but that he would arrange it however we wanted to. And so I said, okay, well, let's try it. And RJ ended up really liking that. RJ's my 10-year-old son. He ended up really liking that arrangement. So we stuck with having that pull down bed from the ceiling over my king size bed on the floor. The only thing I would say that you might have an issue with, we really didn't have an issue with it because we're not TV watchers on cruises, but you really couldn't get a good view of the TV with that pull down bed down if you were laying in the bed. And the only other place to sit other than the bed in the room is the one little stool that's in front of the mirror area or the desk area in the room. So if you want to lay in bed and watch TV and that bed from the top was pulled down, you could kind of struggle with that a little bit. But other than that, I thought the room was very comfortable. I thought that the bathroom could have been a little bit bigger. It did have a shower curtain, which of course I don't prefer. But again, it is an older ship. I kind of expected that. I didn't smell anything weird. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary in terms of cruising for me. So I thought it was a decent room. The one thing about the room that I think I didn't really care for is the lack of electrical outlets. There was not an outlet next to the bed. So I couldn't charge anything next to the bed unless I used my portable charger, which I always travel with a portable charger. So I had that. But as far as like actually plugging into a wall, there was no way for me to do that next to the bed. The only plugs were by the actual desk area in the room. So I did use that plug, and then I had my portable charger that I charged things when I was in bed with. Let's talk about the muster. This was the strangest muster process that I've ever been a part of. So they had the muster drill video playing in the app. And so I watched it in the app, and I was thinking maybe there was a way that they could track it, that I watched it in the app. Well, no, they actually wanted everyone to go to their cabins and watch the video at the same time. So I believe that time was 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I don't remember exactly, but at the same time, they wanted everyone to be in their cabin watching that video at the same time. And then once you watch the video, you had to pick up your phone and dial a certain number on the phone to confirm that you watched the video. And then you dial the number and you hear on the other end, we've received your confirmation or something like that. And I thought that that was the end of it. But no, once you do that, you then have to go to your actual muster station, like where you would go in the event of an emergency. You have to go there and check in with your room key or CPAS card or whatever MSC called that little card. But you had to go there and check in there too. And not only did you have to check in and show your card, you actually had to go into, ours was like a lounge area. We had to go into that lounge and just walk around and look at people wearing their life vests. We literally just had to walk around and look at people wearing the life vests, which I was like, okay. The hard part about that whole process was they shut all the elevators down, y'all. So you cannot use the elevators during that process of leaving your room and going to your muster station. So now every single person on the ship is leaving their room at the same time to go to your muster station, and nobody can use the elevators. It was absolute madness. I have no idea why they would choose to do a muster drill that way. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. Maybe there's a method to the madness. I thought it was kind of crazy. But yeah, that's how that went. One of the other things that we always do on Embarkation Day is register for the kids club. As soon as we stepped onto the ship, they had a table where you could register for the kids club. And so we went to that table and we did that, or so I thought. But we actually ended up having to register again at the actual kids club. So I had to go later on to the kids club and fill out paperwork for the kids club there, which I'm not sure why we had to do that twice. But we did. And the paperwork that we filled out at the kids club was different than what we filled out at the table when we stepped on board. So I'm really not sure why we had to do it that way, but we did. But other than that, it was a simple process getting him registered for the kids club. And I will let RJ share his thoughts on the kids club. I will tell you that he did enjoy it when he did actually go. We didn't go till the last day, but he enjoyed it so much that when I went to pick him up, he did not want to leave. He is a 10-year-old. All the kids clubs are in the same area and kind of separated by partitions. And so he went to the one that was for his age group, and he really, really liked it. So I thought that was good.
Hello, people. It is RJ, your favorite. My thoughts about the cruise we've been on is really good. The kids club is so much fun. Different activities, even though it's like really small room, it's still a lot of fun. I would recommend taking your kids there because there's loads of fun activities, live shows and stuff, TikTok challenges. And yeah, that's really much it. Bye-bye.
Let's talk about the food. Food is a big thing on cruises for me. I know not everybody cares about food, but I am a foodie at heart, and I like to have good food when I cruise. And so let's talk about what the food was like on this ship. So the first day, Embarkation Day, we went to the buffet. The buffet on Embarkation Day, I found some things that I was able to eat. I won't say they were really, really enjoyable. They were okay. They weren't bad. They were seasoned. The food that I had was seasoned. I think I had a Caesar salad with some chicken in it, and the chicken was kind of dry. But the actual grilled or baked chicken that I had was seasoned pretty well. and I think I had some mushrooms or some kind of vegetables with it, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible food. RJ, however, is very, very picky. Couldn't really find anything that he cared for. He likes hot dogs, and so he chose a hot dog, and he did not like the hot dog. I don't know what it was. I've never seen him bite a hot dog and not like it. So he did not like this hot dog at all. He also had some fries, and honestly, that was day one for the buffet, and the buffet kind of just didn't get any better as the days went on. In fact, RJ really only ate fries at the buffet every day. He didn't really find anything else that he cared for there. Neither did I, other than the pizza. I did try the pizza. Everyone, well, I won't say everyone, but a lot of people say that MSC has the best pizza at sea. I did enjoy the pizza. I've heard now that I've gotten off, unfortunately, that the pizza at the pizza that you would order in room service is even better than the buffet pizza. I didn't try the room service pizza, so I didn't get to enjoy that. But the pizza that I had on the buffet, I thought was good. I wouldn't say it was my favorite pizza at sea, but it was good. I did like it. There were some items on the buffet that were just different, just not my style of eating, and maybe that's more because it's a European based ship or European based line, that maybe those foods that were there catered more to that European base, but there was just a lot of things that a lot of combinations of food that I didn't see myself enjoying, and really, quite frankly, didn't try. I did not try actual food for room service either, but I did get the continental breakfast delivery for room service on our sea day. And I enjoyed those items. It was, muffins and donuts and apples with peanut butter. And I had a multitude of different things that I ordered on that platter. Shout out to See It With C for saying, go ahead and get you one of those platters for the breakfast, because you're going to want to have those things to snack on throughout the day. Yes, I absolutely needed those things to snack on throughout the day. Let's talk about dinner. The ship does have main dining restaurants on board. I did try main dining for dinner the first night and the second night. And I'll be honest, y'all, I really didn't care for the main dining experience too much. The first night, the food was just okay. And it took a very long time. I think our seating time was 8:30 or 8:45. An hour into it, we had not even ordered yet on the first day. So it took a very long time. Day two, it moved a little faster, but the food was not good at all on day two. So we sacrificed the food to get a little bit more of our time back. I also didn't care for the fact that they set us, me and RJ were together. So there's two of us. They set us at a table for 8. So we were sitting with 6 strangers at the table, and I have not had that. And I know traditional cruising, that's how it was, right? Years ago in our cruise, that's how it would be. You would get sat with random people that you didn't know. I haven't experienced that in so long. I just didn't expect it. It didn't even cross my mind that that's what the setup would be. And so when I got on board and I got to our table and there were other people sitting there already, I was like, oh, this kind of caught me off guard. Wasn't expecting this. And so it was the general, we don't know each other. How do we make small talk kind of talk? Have you ever cruised before? Is this your first cruise? What do you do? Where are you from? And that just kind of general awkwardness that exists when you have to converse with people that you don't really know. But it wasn't terrible. They were all nice people. And the second night, even more so, we ended up with a different group of people the second night. Same table, whole different group of people. Don't understand how that worked, but that's how it worked out. And we had a good chat the second night. But again, the food we were not happy with the food, the selections, or what we got. I think the first night I got a steak, which was okay. It was seasoned pretty well. I didn't care for the potatoes that were with it. I didn't eat. RJ got like chicken nuggets. I think he may have eaten those along with some fries. But then night 2, the menu changed. They didn't have chicken nuggets anymore, and he didn't like anything that was on the menu, so he didn't even eat the second night. They also would not let us take food back to the room. He wanted to take a dessert back to the room, and they would not allow that. So I know some cruises do. Most of the cruises I have been on will allow you to do that. They'll come and bring you a cover for it and let you take it back to the room. MSC would not let us do that. Overall, the food on the ship, I really didn't care for it. That was probably the one thing that I had the most heartburn over, because I really like to eat good on vacation, and I never felt like I could really eat good on the ship. Now, breakfast, I did think was better. The buffet breakfast was better, and the main dining room breakfast was better. We tried both. We had the buffet on the last day, which is a port day, and then we had the main dining room breakfast on our sea day. Both of those I thought was better than what the lunch offerings were for the buffet and for main dining. So those weren't terrible, except those potatoes I had in the main dining room. Those were terrible. What's up, everybody? It's Kiki. Listen, if you're enjoying the video, let me just take a moment to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us so much. We would love to have your support. Click that little subscribe button, and if you're feeling real good, hit the little like button too. We would appreciate it. And if you're interested in getting exclusive content like behind the scenes, early access, things like that, go ahead and click that join button, y'all. That's going to allow you to become a member of the channel. We have 3 easy selections for you to choose from. And if you become a member, and you get access to all the exclusive content that you can handle. Let's get back to the video. Let's talk about the entertainment and the activities on the ship. You guys, this is one that I was so shocked by. The entertainment on the ship was amazing. I thought that their shows were really good. We saw 2 different shows in like the main theater area. One was sort of a circus themed show that was just excellent. And then there was another show called Cameo that was really just a play on all these big hit songs from different movies throughout the year. And another great show. I really enjoyed the entertainment on this ship. They also had an event called Dancing with the Officers, and you got to like actually sit and, well, not sit, but you actually got to go into this lounge, and they brought all the ship officers out. And if you wanted to, you could go up and dance with the officers. I thought that was kind of a cool thing. I didn't do it because it's not my thing, but I thought it was cool to see, and I thought it was a fun kind of nighttime activity. Also, as far as like the evening entertainment, I saw a comedy show as well. Now, I went to the nighttime comedy show. It was the late one, and it said adult theme on there, but there were some kids who came to that show, y'all. There were some folks that brought their kids, and the comedian was kind of like, well, y'all brought y'all kids. They told y'all not to. They about to learn a lot tonight. So the comedian was hilarious, but it was very raunchy. It was very dirty. So I do not suggest you take your kids to the late night comedy show. But it was a good time. It was fun. I definitely thought it was up there in terms of entertainment. We laughed the entire time we were in that comedy show. The daytime activities were actually really fun too. They had a lot of like pool games outside on the pool deck. They had a big basketball court out that people were shooting this big inflatable ball into. Tons of people were playing like foosball and table tennis. They had all these different types of activities going on, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't get into much of the like activities that you would find in the app, like bingo and those kind of things. I really didn't do much of that. We kind of just relaxed. This was a relaxing cruise for us. But as far as what I saw them doing out on the pool decks throughout the day on our sea day, I thought it looked really fun. The activities that they had for kids seemed really fun too. I know they had a quest for kids. They had, so I don't remember, I think it was like a kids night live or something we went to, and they were doing TikTok trends and all kinds of little fun, cute things that kids like to do. I thought those activities were really great, and I really felt like my son enjoyed them too. Yeah. He says, yeah. Let's talk about the ship itself. The ship is a smaller ship. It is an older ship as well, but it has a real kind of classic feel to it. Now, I already talked about the red carpet and like the decor in the rooms and the hallways and stuff leading to the rooms. I didn't care for that as much, but I love that they had the classic like lighting and what is it? The classic like mirrors everywhere. The elevators were all mirrors. The room was all mirrors. The halls were real elegant looking and just had this really classic ship feel to it. And I really like that. I enjoy a good classic ship experience just as much as I enjoy the huge like mega ship experiences. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought the layout of the ship was nice. It was not hard to learn. It was not hard to figure out where to go. I felt like I learned it pretty well in just those 3 days. So that's exactly one of the reasons why I like classic ships, because I can learn and know where I'm going pretty quickly. Also, as far as the design of the ship, some of the areas that I really loved, this disco area. They had this disco area that they used at nighttime for like evening dance activities. Really, really love that area. It was so cute the way it was lit up. It had a beautiful view during the day. Obviously at night it's all black outside, but it had a beautiful view of Miami while we were in port and a beautiful view of the ocean while we were at sea. I also felt like this ship had a ton of activities for kids. I have been on some of the biggest, in fact, I've been on the biggest ship in the world. And I was just as excited and thrilled with the activities that they had on this ship for kids as I have been on some of those bigger ships. So they had bowling. Now it was mini bowling, get the little mini ball, and you did have to pay for it. It was not free. It did come at an additional cost, but the bowling was a lot of fun. They had a 4D theater that was so much fun. We did that over and over and over again. Shout out to them for having those fun passes available. We ended up purchasing a fun pass and using that throughout the trip. So definitely check out the fun pass if you are interested in doing some of those kid-friendly activities, because that's what you can use that pass to do, the bowling and the arcade and the billiards and all kinds of stuff. Oh, the 4D theater, you can choose which activity you want to do on the 4D theater. So we chose a couple different ones and just tried a few different ones. They had air hockey. We played air hockey, y'all. Fun time. And they had an arcade. Now the arcade is very small. It only has a couple games, like a handful of games, but we still had a good time. It was fun. But yeah, all of that stuff we were able to use our fun pass to purchase. So I thought, as far as activities for kids on this ship, hands down, I thought this ship got a 10 out of 10. I was very impressed with it, especially for it to be a small ship. Let's talk about our port day. So we were supposed to go to Ocean Cay, which I was super excited about because we've never been there. Ocean Cay is MSC's private island in the Bahamas. I was super excited to go there. So was RJ. And unfortunately, due to some bad weather, we got rerouted and ended up having to go to Nassau, which we don't mind Nassau. We actually enjoy Nassau quite a bit. But it was just a little disappointing because we kind of booked this trip with Ocean Cay in mind. And I know ports can change at any point in time. If you didn't know that, ports can change at any point in time. In fact, if you look at your cruise contract, it actually says in there, ports are subject to change. And unfortunately, we had a port change on this cruise and we ended up going to Nassau, but we still really enjoyed it. Debarkation at the port, no issues there. Got off quickly. Were able to get back on quickly when it was time. They would not let me bring food back on though. And I'm not sure if that's an MSC thing or if that's a Nassau thing. I can't remember if I brought food back on in Nassau before, but we had these wings, y'all, that we found in the port, or that we bought in the port. And I bought extra of them so that we can have them for dinner because, you know, the whole food situation on board. Yeah, they wouldn't let us bring them back on. I ended up having to throw my wings away. So I was not happy about that. But other than that, getting back on port days was pretty simple, relatively easy. As far as Embarkation Day as a whole, y'all, I felt like Embarkation Day was a little bit harder than it really needed to be. That's my honest opinion, y'all. Even though the actual process of boarding the ship was easy, there was so many other things that I had to do on Embarkation Day that I'm not used to having to do on Embarkation Day. For some reason, we didn't have dining assigned to us. Like on our card, it said dining and where we're supposed to have our time and location. It just said like unregistered or I forgot exactly. I'll have to go look at the card, but at any rate, it wasn't there. And so I went to guest services and I asked my room steward, hey, my card doesn't say where we're supposed to go for dinner or what time or anything. What do I need to do? And he said, go to guest services. So I went to guest services. Guest services, I told them what was going on. They said, oh, you need to go to the dining room and they'll fix it. So I went to the dining room. Well, the dining room wasn't open yet because it wasn't evening yet. It wasn't time for food. And so they said, well, come back at 6:00 for the dinner time. And I was like, okay. So went back at 6:00. Long line of people waited, and I now have to wait in this line. And I don't even want the early dining. I wanted the late dining, but I still have to wait in this line with the early dining folks in order to just say what I needed help with. So I thought that was a little weird. Also, even just trying to get the fun passes. Every time we would go to the area on day one where the bowling and the 4D theater and all that is, it seemed like there was never anybody there. We finally saw that the sign said they would open at 4, and we went at 4 and there was still nobody there. I don't think they showed up at like 4:30 maybe. Also, I had to just the whole process of registering for a kids club and thinking that he was already registered since I filled out the paperwork at that first table, but then getting to the kids club and finding out, no, he was not. I needed to register again. I needed to fill more paperwork. I also couldn't put a card onto my folio until like the day of. I think that morning of the cruise, I got an email saying, hey, you can either the morning of the day or the day before, hey, give us whatever credit card you want to use so you can attach it. But there were a lot of people that were doing that on the ship. They have these little kiosks all over the ship where you can use to attach, your card to your folio or put cash on it or however you want to do it. I just thought there was a lot of steps that had to be done on day one. And I didn't understand why so much of that couldn't have been done in the app prior to the cruise to allow the customer, the cruiser, to be able to enjoy more of their day on the first day on the cruise instead of spending it running around trying to do all these little menial tasks that could be done in advance. I think that's something that MSC really should consider, how the customer is having to spend their time. The first day of vacation, of course, is an exciting one, and you want to spend it having fun, not going around having to do all these little things. So I just think that's a kink that could probably be worked out a little better. Same with the muster drill. Like, why do we have to go through all these changes? Why do we have to go through all these changes just to do the muster drill? I didn't think any of it was necessary, really. I thought that there could be a lot done to really clean that process up and make it a little bit easier for the customer. Overall, what would I score this cruise? So, let's see. Embarkation, I'm going to say, it's so hard because the embarkation itself was so smooth. So I want to give it a high score, but there were so many other things we had to do on embarkation day. Okay, here's what I do. Embarkation, I'm going to say a 9 because of how fast we got on board. But embarkation day overall, I'm going to say 6.5 because there was so much that I had to do. I just really didn't like having to do all that running around trying to do things that should have been able to be done in the app prior or when booking. The cabin, I'm going to give the cabin a solid 8. I thought the cabin was good for what you got. You booked an inside room. You know what you're getting when you get an inside room. You get in a box. That's what it is. The food, I'm sorry, y'all. The food is low for me. The food has got to get like a 4. And I feel like I'm being generous with a 4. The food was just not up to par for me. Entertainment activities, 10 out of 10. I thought the entertainment activity was great. I will give them that. They can have that 10. I thought that they had a lot in place for us to have a good time. The white party was amazing. So much fun. Such a good time. I really, really enjoyed it. And then debarkation was super easy, super quick. No issues there. I got to give that a 10. There was no issues getting us off. That was another thing. Another thing that we had to do that I felt like they they said in the app that if you need to get off early on your debarkation day, then you need to go to guest services and tell them you need an early debarkation. And so that was one of the things I did on Embarkation too. I went to guest services and said, hey, I need an early debarkation. And they were like, what? You don't need to come tell us that. Well, why your app tell me I need to go tell you that? And so, yeah. So you know what? Debarkation, I'm going to give it a 7. And I'm saying that because I did the early checkout where you carry your own stuff off, but you can get off pretty much as soon as the ship is cleared. I didn't like how they organized that because they told people to just come stand in this area. And I really felt like we should have been lining up to get off, and they were just kind of pushing people into this certain area. First of all, I didn't know where to go, and I asked 3 different people before I was actually got a good answer about where do I go for this express checkout. And when I finally got there, there were some people that were lined up, and those people were like, okay, the line is here, come after me. And so we got in line, but then the crew members brought more people after us and pushed them ahead of us. So I thought that could have been a little bit more organized. So for that, I'm going to say a 7.5 for that. The cruise overall, I enjoyed it. I would cruise MSC again. I would do it. I would cruise MSC. I would take me some snacks, but I would cruise MSC again. I would like to do a bigger ship though. And I would like to, a ship that has slides. That's the other thing. The ship does not contain any kind of water slides. So if you're a person that cruises with kids that looks for that on a cruise ship, you may want to look at a different ship because this one does not have that. There is a little play area with regular slides, but no water slide. So yeah, I would cruise it again. I would say overall, I'd give this cruise probably an 8. I really didn't care for the food. That was the biggest thing that we had issue with. But the cruise itself, we enjoyed our time together. We were comfortable in the room. And we thought it was a good cruise, and we would cruise MSC again. Thanks so much for watching this review. I hope that this will help you make a decision on whether or not you want to book the MSC Magnifica or get ready for your cruise that you've already booked on the MSC Magnifica. Matter of fact, let us know in the comments if you've booked this cruise already, or if you're watching because you're trying to decide if you want to book this cruise or not. So let us know that in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're interested in getting exclusive content from Team Reese Travels, hit that join button, y'all. We do have a membership for the channel. Our members are getting some great exclusive content right now. They're getting early access to some of videos just like this, and they're getting some content that no one else is going to be able to see but them. So definitely hit the join button if you're interested in becoming a member. And until the next time, Team Reese all day.